All right, today we're jumping into a really fascinating story about industrial strategy, coming straight from the textile heartland of Pakistan. It's all about a huge problem, an even bigger idea, and really how you can build an entire industrial powerhouse pretty much from scratch. So let's get right into it. I want to kick things off with a question that, really gets to the core of what we're talking about today. What if you could launch a major manufacturing business without having to deal with the insane cost and headache of actually building your own factory? I know, it sounds kind of impossible, right? But stick with me, because that very idea is the key to this whole thing. So, to really get why this idea was so revolutionary, we need to hop in a time machine and go back to the early 2000s. See, Pakistan's most important industry, the absolute engine of its economy, was staring down the barrel of a massive global threat. For decades, there was this system called the multi-fiber arrangement, which basically set quotas on how many textiles a country could export. But when that system ended, the entire game just changed overnight. All of a sudden, Pakistan couldn't just get by selling raw stuff like yarn and fabric. It had to compete on the wide-open global market. And that meant creating value-added products. The finished shirts, jeans, and dresses that fetch a much higher price. This was a monumental challenge, and it was going to require a totally new way of thinking. And you know what? That incredible pressure led to an incredibly creative solution. Let's dig into how a strategic government policy turned into a real-world engine for economic growth. The answer was this: the Faisalabad Garment City Company, or FGCC for short. Now, what's really cool here is its setup. Yeah, it's a public sector company backed by the government, but it's also a not-for-profit. Its goal wasn't to make a profit for itself. Nope, its mission was to be an enabler, to create the absolute perfect environment for private businesses, especially the smaller ones, to step up and compete on the world stage. And this wasn't just some fantasy on a piece of paper. Look at how fast this all happened. The idea pops up in the 2003 trade policy. The company is officially created just a year later, and by 2006, factories were already up and running. For a government project of this size, that is moving at lightning speed. This right here, this is their mission statement, and it just shows you their laser focus. It's not vague at all. It is all about one thing: boosting the export of value-added textile products. It's about climbing that economic ladder, moving from just selling fabric to designing and shipping out world-class clothing. So how are they going to do it? With this simple but, really powerful concept: a plug-and-play environment. The whole idea was to just obliterate the biggest hurdles that stop small and medium-sized entrepreneurs from getting into the export game. The crazy high cost and the mind-numbing complexity of building everything yourself. So what does plug and play actually look like when the rubber hits the road? Come on, let's go inside the Garment City and see how this one idea blossomed into an entire industrial ecosystem. This just lays it out so perfectly. The old way? Oh man, it was a nightmare. You had to buy land, wrestle with permits, manage construction, get the gas and electric hooked up. The FGCC way? It's like night and day. You just lease a factory unit that's ready to go. Everything's included. You can literally walk in with your sewing machines, plug them in, and start producing. It's a total game changer. And we're not just talking about empty buildings here. This is what I mean by a complete ecosystem. FGCC provides all these shared resources that a small business could never dream of affording on its own. You get on-site logistics, top-notch testing labs, training centers to upskill your workforce, even offices for international buyers to come visit. It's the whole shebang all in one spot. Now, this is a really crucial detail: how the whole thing is governed. It's a true public-private partnership. You've got government officials on the board making sure everything aligns with the national strategy. But you also have actual factory owners and industry veterans making decisions too. That is the secret sauce, right? It keeps the Garment City grounded in what businesses actually need to win. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory. But did it actually work? Let's get to the so what of it all and look at the real tangible results this project has put on the board. First, let's just talk about sheer scale. The entire industrial estate is almost 39 acres. To give you some perspective, that's roughly the size of 30 football fields, all dedicated to this one single mission. But land is just dirt, right? What really matters is the activity. Inside that space, the Garment City is humming with industry, employing around 6,000 workers directly. That's 6,000 jobs, 6,000 families being supported by this one initiative. And it goes beyond just jobs. It's about building skills. The on-site training centers have officially skilled up over 300 women, giving them the tools they need to thrive in the modern garment industry and empowering them economically. That's a huge social impact. So when you connect all these dots, the bottom line is, well, it's profound. This model allowed smaller companies to finally play in the big leagues globally. It boosted the country's export earnings, it had a direct positive social impact, and maybe most importantly, it helped shift the whole identity of Faisalabad, a city they call the Manchester of Pakistan, from a place that just sells fabric to a place that designs and exports world-class fashion. And that brings us to our last big thought. I mean, the Faisalabad Garment City is clearly a huge local success. But what are the bigger lessons here? Can we zoom out a bit? So here's the key takeaway from all this. The government didn't try to run the factories itself. No. Instead, it acted as a platform. By building the expensive, complicated infrastructure, it basically built a bridge over the biggest barriers that were holding entrepreneurs back. The government took on the big initial risk, which let private businesses just walk across that bridge and focus on what they do best: innovate, create products, and generate wealth. And that leaves us with this final, really exciting question to chew on. This city-as-a-service model worked brilliantly for textiles in Pakistan, but could this be the blueprint for growth in other places, for other industries? I mean, could you imagine a software city in Nigeria or a biotech city in Brazil, all built on this same plug-and-play idea? It's a really powerful concept to think about. That's all for this explainer. Thanks for joining.